There are two things that I love in this world. One of them is being when I pay for something and I like it, and then I realize that I actually invested in my money and got fun and enjoyment out of that thing. While that doesn't happen a lot nowadays because everything is just garbage. But second thing is when I go to cinema and there is no one there, then I realize that I can watch a movie in peace because people are just loud and annoying. So anyway, when I went for this movie, Materialist, there was no one there, and I really enjoyed the movie as well. Well, I don't think it was a masterpiece of a movie, but it was good, and there was no one there, so I didn't have to hear people making stupid jokes. Anyway, I'm gonna be talking about this movie, and I'll be getting into some spoilers if you care. So let's talk about my biggest. It's not a biggest issue in this game, but it's what I have to like kind of talk about. So this movie is about 2 hours long, and so the first hour of the movie is just comedy. Like literally most of it is just like watching a comedy movie. And second is drama, and it's really like serious at that point. Like the second full hour. It's just, a really serious movie and a drama, that's it. Like I feel like they kind of didn't know if they wanted this movie to be comedy or drama, and then they just made the first half comedy and then drama. Like it's not like this movie is funny and then it kind of gets sad and then it kind of gets funny. It's not like the only like this is how it goes. Like first hour comedy and then second drama. Like that's it. Basically, that's literally it. Which isn't a bad thing. Like I don't think it's like one of the worst thing ever, but I feel like many people out there wouldn't really enjoy that. So let's talk about the movie itself. Pacing is really slow in this movie, like really slow. And the first 30 minutes of the movie, we just see Dakota Johnson just being in this building. That's it, like for the first 30 minutes, and talking to people, and then she meets Pedro there. So I'm just gonna lay out this story for you real quick if you haven't seen the movie. So Dakota Johnson character, she is this matchmaker who hooks people up and helps them find their perfect match for dating and even marriage sometimes. And then there's Pedro character. I don't remember exactly what he did for a living, but he was really, really rich in the movie. And then we see Chris Evans' character, which was my favorite. I think they do him really well, and I really loved and enjoyed his character. He's basically this guy who is struggling and has a really shitty job, and like lives with his housemate, and basically he's not really poor, but he's kind of up there, like he's in middle class, I suppose, and he's Dakota Johnson ex-boyfriend. And yeah, that's basically it. And then we see how Dakota relationship between these characters. So let's talk about things that I don't like in this movie. So a relationship between Pedro and Dakota Johnson doesn't build up. Like not even a bit. Nothing in that relation. I think that relationship was really like bad. Like really bad. So basically so first they kind of tell you in this movie that Dakota Johnson, like her character doesn't like dating. Like even though she does like her job and hooks people up, but she doesn't like dating other people. But she really finds Pedro character good, and starts dating him. But and then she breaks up with him later on. But like nothing builds up. So basically, she thinks that he is an angel. He's perfect when she's talking to him and shit. But at the same time, she doesn't want to date him. But then later on, she does date him. Like, and by the way, all this doesn't really build up in a way. And also Pedro character, so he gets this kind of surgery or something where he grows himself for 6 inches or something. So basically before he was really short. They don't show you that he was really short, but later on in the movie you find out that he grew, well, not didn't grow, but he did some kind of surgery, and now he's really tall, like 6 inches tall. And then he tells that to Dakota Johnson character. Well, he doesn't tell her, she kind of finds out, but then he tells her. And at that point she says that she doesn't want to like talk to him or see him, but she says that that's not the reason, like that he got the surgery and now he's tall. Like that's not the reason that she is breaking up with him. It's just that she doesn't want him anymore, but everything that happens in their relationship doesn't build up. Like, it just happens. And when she's in that relationship, she's living in his house as well, and like, she finds him really attractive and all that. And but like, one of the other reasons she really likes him, because he's really rich. But later on, she kind of realizes that she doesn't want to date him even though he's rich. And yeah, so basically, one thing I forgot to tell you, that she's one of those women that, well, I wouldn't say she's a gold digger, but she kind of wants someone who can, like kind of get what she needs, and that obviously requires money. And so that's one of the reasons she dates a Pedro character. But later on, she realizes that that doesn't matter, kind of like, not at all. And then she goes back to Chris Evans, who's ex-boyfriend. Well, she doesn't really go back to him, but she kind of does. But like, at that time, they're not together. She just goes to him as a friend, tries to talk to him. Anyway, now we're in the second half of the movie. Now, in my opinion, second half is really good. Like, actually really good. I was actually surprised of how good the second hour of this movie was. Like, like, no exaggeration. First hour is not trash. Like, I don't think, like, comedy is funny most of the time. Like, I don't think it's absolutely ass, but it's not even close to as good as second half. Second half is so good. And so basically, in second half of the movie, most of the thing that happens is she goes to Chris Evans' character, and they hang out, and then they talk about their old times and how they broke up, and how she, what she did in the meantime, and what Chris Evans did in the meantime when they weren't together, and all that. And it's just really good. And I was actually like surprised, because I thought this movie was gonna be just like this comedy and not really good for the whole time, but it wasn't. Second hour is just really good. Yeah, second hour is just like wholesome. And then there's one more thing in this movie. So basically, one of the women that she hooks up, and it turns out the man that she gets her to go on a date with, the matchmaker, Dakota Johnson. She gets some woman to go on a date with some man, but she doesn't know that that man is abusive, and she gets abused on a date, and she gets really pissed at Dakota Johnson character. But later on, they, she called Dakota Johnson that that man is stalking on, right, he's in the right next to my house, and Dakota Johnson goes back to her with Chris Evans. Like, that's the second half of the movie, and all of this is really wholesome. Like, it's not just like, and everything in the second part of the movie, everything builds up. Like, Pedro character is leaves like when after the first half of the movie. So when the first like hour of the movie, around that, he just goes away, and then it's Chris Evans and Dakota Johnson character, and that woman who was being abused. Well, not being abused, she was abused on a date. And all of this builds up. Like, everything between Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, and that woman builds up, and it feels like just really good in the movie. And then at the end, she kind of realizes that money is like doesn't matter, and what matters is his personality. And I just really enjoyed Chris Evans' character, and the like Chris Evans and Dakota relationship. I think that was really, like, they build that up in such a good way. Also, there's one more thing in this movie that I think many people might not like, but I did enjoy. So most of the scenes in this movie, like emotional scenes, or, well, there weren't many tense scenes, but there were many emotional scenes, especially in the second half. So there's no background music in this movie, like, not enough, like, especially in emotional scenes. And I think that was a good thing in a way. Like, I think they did it on purpose, and it feels so natural. Like, I think, obviously, I think some people out there might not like it because there's no background music, but, well, I'm not one of them. I think that was actually really good, and I did enjoy it. So, many times, there's like any scene, there's just no background music. And I think it was good. It just felt natural. Also, there's one thing that I kind of don't like. So, like, time to time in the movie, Dakota Johnson acting wasn't that good. Now, I think I might be overlooking this, or I might just be, overthinking this. But, like, I don't know. I think it wasn't like good. Maybe, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. I don't know. But I don't think it's like it's a big deal. Like, I don't think her acting was like fucking. like Gal Gadot or something. But I think time to time it wasn't really good. Especially there was this scene where she was arguing, but that was like a past flashback. So she was basically arguing with Chris Evans when they were together before the movie, and she was arguing with him, but that argument didn't feel like natural argument. That just felt like a weird argument. In many time when characters are arguing in a movie, it feels really natural, but that one didn't, because I think because of Dakota Johnson. In my opinion, again, like I don't think many people will have the same opinion, or maybe I'm overlooking this, but I don't think that argument felt natural. Even though, now I think some parts of the movie, her acting kind of gets carried away. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. Anyway, overall, I think the movie was good, especially the second half of the movie. I think everything builds up in the second half, and it's just really good. And most of it, the second half is basically drama. There's no comedy, but even with that, it's just fun. Anyway, that's it, Ansia.